Okay, here we go again. Part 2. Woo! Oh, wait, I have to turn the music on. There we are. VGRT podcast.
I think the music is drowning you out, Joe.
Okay, well, guess what? Now, this is the part of the music we don't normally listen to. Because this is deep into the song. So anyways, go ahead, just give the intro.
Hello and welcome to the 741st edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 574th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I'm TJ Denzer.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Yeah, we're doing everything wrong today. For those of you who don't know, TJ was not available yesterday, so it was just me and Scott. Now Scott's not available, so it's just me and TJ. But the thing is that the shit that's going on this past week is so weird that we just have to get everybody's opinion on it. It is just going crazy with rumors, especially some of the rumors, which are not rumors, but not rumors. Anyways, go on. You've been talking about how you got back into Armored Core 6. Some software has you got these short hairs, don't they?
Yeah, so I've always been a fan of Armored Core 6. I think it's one of the best games that 2023 had. It's like there isn't really a game like that that is just a hardcore mech building single player campaign that feels that good. Armored Core is fast. It feels satisfying when you hit your shots or when you hit like certain weapon attacks. And then they added, like, between when I last played and when I played over break, they added a whole bunch of parts and weapons to the game for free that you can just find now or buy now and put on your mech. And so I had a lot of fun building new builds and trying them out and playing through the story again.
Cool. I've been playing Mediopolis or Media. That's one of those strange games that I have to look at my thing again. It is Memoriapolis, right?
Memoriapolis.
Yeah, I talked about this last week. Or actually, I showed you a video of it. It's basically a city building game, except all you do are place down buildings and everything else goes up. Like the roads build themselves and the people come themselves. All you're doing is building buildings and trying to influence them. It's interesting. It takes place during the Roman times. It's not quite catching me, but I think that this is an early access product, though, and it's far from being complete. It looks pretty, but it hasn't. I've been playing Against the Storm instead, which has been around since December 2023. Basically, it's I already talked about it. It's a city building roguelike in which you just want to build a city up to get your approval. Boom, it's done. I'm out. City could do whatever it wants after that. And, it's another game that was never nominated for best game because it was released in December. It is addictive when you get into it. I have a friend who's not really into city builders, but I come back a week later, he's like obsessed over it. That kind of game. It's the non-genre gamer game for people. Yeah. It sort of reminds me of how Civilization caught me. I wasn't really into that kind of game, and then I played Civilization, and then I was all in on Civilization. All the way back in the early 90s. Anyways, some quick news. The first one is Nintendo breaks its silence on Switch 2 leaks. And it makes this really weird statement. The gaming hardware that Genki is claiming to be Nintendo hardware at CES is unofficial and was not provided to the company by Nintendo. What does that tell you? The wording of that is so weird. What it's telling me is that is the Switch 2, and we can't confirm it. And whatever that thing Genki is waving around, we didn't give him permission to show it off.
That's a weird. Yeah, I saw the leaks while I was traveling this week, and I saw the unofficial showing of it. What did you think?
On the bottom there, I mean, that looks like a mock-up, but it looks like a real device. It looks like something that you would have. I don't think it's going to be white with a black, back like that. I
Mhm.
think you have different colored switches, like blue switch, yellow switch, red switch. Yeah. But I think that is basically what you'd expect the Switch to be.
I'm concerned about the fact that it appears that the Joy Cons don't have a slide hinge this time. You just
I see the slide
shove them in, mash
I
them
see,
in, and
I see a light a groove there.
it looks like you just put them right in, and then there's like a release switch that you use to take them back out,
Mhm.
which Nintendo isn't like known for durable hardware. So like, I'm a little concerned that that's probably the first thing on those things that is going to break.
Well, here's the other thing that's interesting is that a new version of their patent came out, which basically says they have a new upscaling technology to go from 720 to 1080p and from 1080p to 4K. So what it tells me is that the Nintendo store is finally going to have Wii games.
That would be interesting.
And I know I'm going to make a lot of people old that Wii games are now retro games.
Yeah.
They're retro now. Sorry. Just like the Xbox 360 is retro now. So is the PlayStation 3. Those are retro games now. But that's not all the craziness that's going on with surrounding Nintendo and Microsoft and all that. So let's get into game news. Microsoft announces Xbox Developer Direct. And one interesting thing is this coming just before the Nintendo Direct. So Microsoft will once again hold an Xbox Developer Direct to kick off the new year with deep dives into a small selection of upcoming Xbox Games Studios titles. It's going to be on January 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern. And they're going to have detailed looks at Doom the Dark Ages, which I know you're salivating over. South of Midnight, which I'm interested in. It's that, if you remember, it's that weird Cajun game in which I think the girl was riding on a giant turtle. And
Yeah.
Claire Pure, Expedition 33, which is basically what everybody wants Final Fantasy 16 to be. And a mystery fourth game from an unknown studio. Now, the speculation on this was it might be Fable, The Outer Wilds 2, maybe even Avowed, but that's kind of silly because being Avowed is coming out on February 5th, I think. Early February, so I don't know if they would show it off. And some people even said maybe it's a remake of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. But there are new news, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, which are, if true, are more likely to be shown off at Microsoft's Xbox Developer. So tell me, how much are you looking forward to Doom the Dark Ages?
A lot. That game looks awesome every time that it shows up. And like, I mean, I got to be at QuakeCon this year, and they had a trailer that they didn't put up online, which showed off a lot of great stuff, including being able to ride on like a dragon type thing with a Gatling gun on its back. There was a giant.
That was in a trailer. They had that in a trailer.
Yeah, but they took a deep dive into it at QuakeCon, and like I'm talking about, like they didn't show. They did it with the original Doom 2, where they showed it off at QuakeCon, and then they never uploaded it anywhere else.
Were you having Panzer Dragoon flashbacks?
Nah, it was like a sprawling battlefield, and you're just the Doom guy riding a dragon and blasting everything on the ground with a Gatling gun. And then,
are you playing the side of a van? It's like something you might see painted on the side of a van. Yeah, I'm a dude with a spear riding a dragon, and there's a chick in a chainmail bikini behind me.
Well, there was a lot more demons than chicks in chainmail bikinis, but there was also
and shooting them at people.
They also had like a Titan robot type thing where you fought. I think it's called I forget what the name of the demon that's like the giant demon that's like a skyscraper in Doom.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Icon of Sin. You basically fight it with this giant robot in a Rock'em Sock'em Robots battle. And I got to see them use the shield as sort of a Captain America type like ricocheting effect. There was
I'm starting to wonder if the guys at Doom are starting to look at Duke Nukem 3D and saying, let's borrow some of that stuff.
They're going all out on over the top, which I love. It looks very fun, and I'm really excited to get it in our hands.
Oh, imagine if somewhere he had, hey, remember me? Duke's back in town.
Yeah,
it was a Duke reference in Doom.
I wish Duke Nukem would come back, but he's not doing so hot these days.
Oh. The thing is that it's certainly be like Sonic and Mario at the Olympics, sort of that kind of thing. They're not rivals anymore because it's so old. It's too old to be a rival now. Clear Obscure Expedition 33, everybody's excited about.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had much thoughts on this one. Like I've seen it, but like I really haven't felt one way or the other about it yet.
Well, guess what? They're gonna have a detailed look at it.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that because like I don't know what to think of it yet.
Yeah. So, next news item: the Switch 2 is reportedly getting Halo and another big Xbox game, with Microsoft set to be a very quote unquote big supporter, while everybody's waiting for Nintendo to reveal the Switch 2, even though Genki has been waving it around like a banner. Another reliable leaker, Nate the Hate, has leaked. He was the one who leaked last year that Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and Pentiment would be on the PS5 and also 2 of them on the Switch. He now has a new report and says that Microsoft is going to be supporting the Switch 2 big time by having Flight Simulator and Halo the Master Chief Collection in 2025. Let's focus on that for a moment. This has to be Microsoft having a streaming service on the Switch 2. I don't care how much more advanced the Switch 2 is. There's no way in hell it's going to natively be able to support Flight Simulator. No way in hell. That has to be a streaming game.
Yeah, like I guess the idea would be that you get Microsoft or Xbox Cloud Gaming onto Switch then?
I mean, you already have other games that stream onto the Switch. Right? I don't think it's going to be you're going to have Xbox Game Pass on the Switch. But which tells me that Nintendo is going to be beefing up their online, I hope. Because that's one thing that Nintendo's always been backwards on. Everything dealing with online. It's like living in, if it isn't Wi-Fi, they don't care, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how it supports Flight Simulator. And Halo, wow, you're going to have Halo. And here's the other thing. Those two games are also going to be on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But remember we were talking about the hidden game for Microsoft Direct? Well, he also says that Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16 will all be coming to the Xbox Series XS and Switch. So you can bet your bottom dollar, if that's true, that'll be the fourth thing that Microsoft shows off at Microsoft Direct. We're going to have Final Fantasy VII, both parts, and also Final Fantasy 16. That has to be the fourth thing that they're going to show off. Their mystery guest, which will be Square Enix. And by the way, Square Enix and Microsoft have been getting very chummy lately, if you notice. So it makes sense that they would be doing it.
Yeah. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see like the actual like. I know we've got a glimpse of it now, but I really am interested to see what's under the hood of that device for it to be able to, especially if they plan on seriously putting Microsoft Flight Simulator. That one seems the most ambitious to me by far.
Especially since in my view, it's not quite cooked yet. We should have left it for a few more months. Let's talk about Square Enix. Square Enix lost big going single platform. See, here's the thing. Sony made a deal with Square Enix to bring Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16 as a PlayStation exclusive. I think somewhere in that agreement was a line that if those two games did not make this amount of money, they would become multi-platform. I think that's what happened. I think the fact that neither game sold well enough for Square Enix to keep it single platform. And here's the thing: Square Enix realized a couple of months ago we can't do this. We have to be big on multi-platform. And with MLB being on the Xbox and Microsoft deciding, some of our biggest IPs, we think are going to be, a lot of them are uh, live service games like Grounded and Sea of Thieves. They're becoming less and less. I think they have the idea that, you know what, if you have a PlayStation and you have to pay to play Final Fantasy 16, but people on Game Pass don't have to play it, which system are you going to go with? And also, there's another news later about something else that they're talking about, which we will get to. I think Microsoft is basically banking everything on being, well, you can pay for it there, but you don't have to pay for it here.
Yeah, and like I agree with you that like Square Enix has probably learned their lesson at this point, as far as like it was so silly to like make a sequel to a game single platform after the previous one was in a couple places. Yeah. And making people wait on that is just ridiculous. It's not fun. It's not fun to see, like, go online and see other people get to continue a story.
I don't think they're going to make people wait for it. I think it was going to be a Sony. Here's the thing: Microsoft. Remember when they were talking during the acquisition of Activision Blizzard? They talked about how Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16 would never, ever, ever be on Microsoft, right? And they wouldn't lie about that. I think there was some sort of agreement made between Sony and Square Enix that said, this isn't working out. We're not making any money off this. Got to let us do this platform. And Sony thought, well, you know what? It was enough time on exclusivity. We already got the buzz for it, so who cares? It's sort of like with Cuphead. Cuphead was released on PlayStation 5 2.5 or 3 years after it was released on Microsoft, and a year after it was released on Switch. Did anybody really care?
I don't think so.
So I think now publishers are trying to get into the mindset of it isn't exclusivity, it's who gets to have limited time exclusivity. Or, in Microsoft's case, who has to pay for it. Because they may release, they're releasing Doom on PlayStation 5, but remember, it's first party, which means everybody who has Game Pass is going to get it essentially for free. As part of their subscription. That's hella attractive.
Yeah.
They sell it on Steam too, but guess what? There's no Game Pass on Steam. It's interesting. And the thing is that Sony was sort of forced into doing their version. Oh, God, did you see how angry people are at the new PlayStation Plus? It's like, oh, we get to have Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Yay! Oh, by the way, it's being offered for free right now.
Also, it's already been
on your PlayStation Plus.
Also, it's a live service game that has already had its any future content canceled. So it's like, okay.
And it's also being sold for free. They're giving it away.
Hey.
So, I mean, see, Sony is still under the traditional make a game, sell for $70, and that's it. Well, Microsoft is thinking to the future, and we're going to talk about the other thing that's in the news about them. But why don't we discuss the shit show that's going on with Ubisoft? Go ahead, TJ.
Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed again as Ubisoft explores company sales options. From Eurogamer. Ubisoft has said that it is delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows again as the company explores sale options. The highly anticipated next Assassin's Creed game will now launch on the 20th of March. Previously, the game was set to arrive on the 14th of February after its initial delay from November 2024. Ubisoft said today that it is currently taking, quote, decisive steps to reshape the company and had now appointed advisors to, quote, review and pursue various transformational, strategic, and capitalistic options to extract the best value for stakeholders. In other words, they're basically prepping it to sell off and probably take private. In plain English, it sounds like Ubisoft is indeed investigating options for a sale, as suggested by several reports late last year. In December, news agency Reuters reported that Ubisoft was discussing buyout options with Chinese giant Tencent, already a major shareholder, that would take the company private.
Let's just interrupt here. Now, we have to do this with also the knowledge that the U.S. military has put Tencent in their shit list.
Mm-hmm. They have labeled them a foreign military organization.
Yeah, that's not good. And that is also, there's something going on with TikTok today, and I don't know if they decided to let it go or not. But yeah, I mean, Tencent says we're not a foreign military. Yeah, but you know what? You're gathering user data. And oh, by the way, if China wants that user data, they tell you give it to us, you have to give it to them.
Yeah. But Ubisoft's statement notes the recently confirmed end of shooter X Defiant in December and the subsequent closure of 3 studios and high-cost geographies. Ubisoft additionally said it has suffered lower than expected holiday sales, mainly for Star Wars Outlaws, and had also lowered financial expectations due to the discontinuation of X Defiant. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a pivotal project for Ubisoft. It is the company's biggest blockbuster in development, and its most anticipated release since 2020's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Its launch also heralds a new era for Assassin's Creed as a core focus for the company, with other projects of various shapes and sizes set to follow on an annual basis, all tied together via a new software hub.
Hey, remember when Ubisoft released Rayman games?
I remember when they said they were going to make Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Well, no, see, Beyond Good and Evil 2. No, I'm just saying that everything's an open world game. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I played Star Wars Outlaws. It wasn't a bad game. It had some quirks about it that I didn't like navigation. But it wasn't a bad game. But the thing is that not everybody needs to play an open world game over and over and over again. Ubisoft just went to that well one too many times. And it's like, I loved Watch Dogs Legion, but, you know, that's just one of all their other games. I didn't like Far Cry 6. I didn't like any of the Assassin's Creed games. I know people loved Valhalla, but that was, to me, that was a long slog. It was like, when is this ever going to end? I stopped playing because it got so boring.
Yeah, that game was bloated as hell. And I really feel like that's a common theme among a lot of recent Ubisoft stuff. Yeah. It just, I miss variety out of them instead of just doing open world games all the fucking time.
Well, here's the other thing. They did release Prince of Persia, right? Which is a side-scrolling action game, right? And I know it got good reviews, but I tried it, and I felt like I was playing a one-man developed game that was an indie game that was pretending to be a AAA game. And it was clunky as hell, and I really wasn't having fun with it.
I mean, never mind the fact that they've also been working on a remake of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and that's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's purposeful how bad Ubisoft has been managed lately. And I don't care about any of the politics or any of the stupid stuff that people talk online. It feels like they're just shoddy when it comes to like just figuring out what people want out of their games anymore.
Here's the thing. I remember when it was EA, Activision, Ubisoft. They were part of a big three. And now they're not.
Yeah. Times have changed. And I feel like Ubi's best days are behind it, in my opinion.
Here's the thing. Let's say Ubisoft. Here's the thing. I would rather Ubisoft get purchased by Sony or Microsoft because they are right to be taken over by either of them, because that's why Microsoft went after Activision Blizzard, because they were in their low point too. You know, it's sort of like, oh, well, let's buy low, sell high, and it's like I wouldn't even care if Sony decided to make all Ubisoft games exclusive, because I don't care about Ubisoft games anymore. Just make sure it's owned by, well, not a Chinese company.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things turn out, but I really don't have optimism for the future of Ubi. There's just nothing they're doing anymore that makes me feel like excited about what they do.
Well, this story has something to do with Ubisoft, but actually, they really don't have anything to do with it. Ubisoft deeply disturbed by damning reports of abuse at Assassin's Creed Shadow support studio. This comes from Eurogamer. Ubisoft responded to a damning report of mental and physical abuse at Indonesian support studio Brandoville. So, what they mean by that is that you know how in Call of Duty, they pull all the other little, they pour all these contractors in, and use minor studios like, and I know this bugs the hell out of you, like Vicarious Vision. Oh, Vicarious, can you work on this part of Call of Duty for us? Thanks. Well, that's basically what this is. This is basically a contract work. The studio provided assistance to Ubisoft on the forthcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it closed in August last year, after which reports of abuse emerged. So these guys also worked on Age of Empires 4, so it's not like they were owned by Ubisoft. But god damn it, the report is just it's worse than disturbing. People Make Games detailed allegations of abuse from Brandoville by Brandoville Commissioner Kwan Cherry Lai, who ran day-to-day operations of the studio. From the reports alleged that from 2019 to 2024, Lai abused multiple employees. This ranged from imposing a strict work schedule and daily Christian worship to forcing an employee to write lines like a school child, humiliating her in front of colleagues, and demanding a video of her slapping herself 100 times as punishment. This is like The Simpsons, isn't it? Even worse, other abuse includes controlling the finances of employees and overworking a pregnant employee whose prematurely born son sadly died after 4 months.
Jesus Christ!
Care.
That's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
Can you imagine? Let's just go. Can you imagine you're being forced to have daily Christian worship?
If I had a kid that died because of being overworked by someone, I would probably do something terrible.
This is cartoonishly bad.
That guy deserves to be in prison. Jesus, that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That guy not only deserves to not work in the industry ever again, that guy deserves to be in prison.
It reminds me of Japanese and manga and anime. And it reminds me of this one. I don't know if he was a writer or an artist or both. He did manga for Shonen Jump. Was it Shonen Jump or was it for animation? They're both the same. Stuff that isn't Shonen Jump appears later. But he did a lot of moe and pedo stuff in his manga, right? Which is not illegal in Japan, or at least there are certain rules. And then he got arrested for doing pedo stuff for real. And his punishment was 2 years probation, and that was removed because he was punished enough by being fired from his job and not being able to work in manga. Really? Strange laws.
Very.
That reminds me of this. It's like, well, his punishment is he'll never be able to work in the video game industry again. That's not how it works in the United States. I don't know. It's just bizarre. And disturbing.
Highly disturbing and highly disappointing. And
then we think about what happened at Bondi, right? And with LA Noire, and it's sort of like makes that creep seem like a saint in comparison.
Yeah, no kidding. And that guy sucked too. Like that guy really, really sucked. But like
he thinks he what's it called? He was fair. And God. Listen, if you ever want to do a thing, just go into the rabbit hole of Studio Bondi and LA Noire and the stuff that he put those people through. But the stuff that he put those people through was just run-of-the-mill verbal abuse and crunch time. He never forced anybody into Christian worship or have them shoot a video of someone slapping themselves 100 times.
Yeah, what a ridiculous thing.
I would just like to see everything that he did to others have him done to him.
Right?
He can't get pregnant, of course, but you know. Controlling the finances too. That really. You imagine your boss says, "No, I'm going to tell you how you're going to spend your money." Oh boy. Anyways, last item, and go ahead.
Microsoft says handheld gaming PC should bring the best of Xbox and Windows together. The future of Microsoft's handheld gaming plans includes a marriage between the best of Xbox and Windows. That's according to Microsoft Xbox's hardware veteran, Jason Ronald, who also teased that the company would have a lot more to share later this year on what exactly its Windows-powered handheld vision might look like. Xbox boss Phil Spencer, who has spoken repeatedly of his desire for Microsoft to launch an Xbox handheld, said in November that such a device was likely still a few years away. While we wait for more on Microsoft's handheld plans, further Switch 2 leaks have continued to paint what looks like a pretty accurate picture of Nintendo's next handheld console.
Yeah, we talked about that. Here's the thing. Phil Spencer is lying. I don't think he means a few years away. I think he means next year.
Yeah. Like,
here's the thing. We've already had an Xbox handheld. It's called an Android.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, like, the blueprints are out there for the design is out there. Like, everybody's jumping on board with this. Lenovo has one. Logitech has one. Let's see. I mean, Steam obviously has one because they were the ones who kind of started the trend. But
no, the thing is that they also well, here's the thing. They had those controllers, and I have one. It doesn't fit my new cell phone, so I have to get something else if I want to do it. That basically added an Xbox controls to my Android. As a matter of fact, you've had that before when people wanted to play Apple games, right, using a controller. So it's nothing new. What I'm guessing it'll be is that it'll be a tablet, much like the Switch. It'll have Wi-Fi and 4G options. It'll come with a controller built on the side, just like the Switch, and it'll stream games to the controller. Now the question is, would it also have storage? And I'm willing to bet you the answer is no. I think what Phil Spencer is thinking of is when will it be technologically ready for us to have a streaming controller? And the thing is that, I can't really see any handhelds coming out that aren't streaming controllers. I mean, streaming consoles. The Switch is probably going to be the last in which, you plug in a SD card or something like that and have physical. I think from the future after that, you're not going to have that at all. It's going to be completely wireless.
Yeah, I can believe that. It's going to be interesting to see for sure, but it is also just kind of weird that Microsoft is, after everybody else has kind of done a version of the Steam Deck at this point, it feels like this should have happened sooner, right?
No, but here's the thing. The Steam Deck is on a PC, right? And a lot of people play very specific games on their PC, right? You're not going to play Civ 6 on your Steam Deck. So, you can try. It's not going to be a fun experience. But what happens is that this handheld will be a Game Pass machine, and all the Game Pass games will stream through through it. And you want to know something? I'm willing to bet you that their number one thing is that they're going to be able to have this at an ultra low price, say $199.
That's ambitious.
But the reason they can do that is that it's not the hardware that's making them money. It's the Game Pass that's making them money.
I would just be interested in seeing I would be interested in seeing Microsoft run a machine that can natively run Windows and access all the things that I would want to do with a Windows native handheld device.
Oh, you know what? You could always have that with Microsoft Edge on that device.
Yeah, and I mean, not just run like Xbox apps and Game Pass, but also why shouldn't I be able to access my Steam library on that thing? I can on my desktop.
It has a virtual keypad on it. Like on a cell. We'll see. Right, but I think it'll be Game Pass machine first and all the other apps later. But the thing is, here's the other question: is will you be able to upload the apps, any apps you want? Like, hey, I want to install Firefox on it. I want to install Steam on it. Here's the thing: imagine if Xbox and Steam have a partnership.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, if it's going to be a stream machine, that's fine. But I think that coming directly from Xbox or Microsoft, I want a little bit more out of it. I want them to make something that's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna jump on something that's like an Xbox handheld if it's not gonna do.
But it's not for someone who plays on Steam. It's for someone who wants to play their Xbox games in their bed.
Sure.
And
But like,
of course,
it should.
you be allowed to stream it to a TV. But here's the thing: you don't even need to do that because you already have Samsung smart TVs that can stream Xbox Live games. Because my smart TV is always asking, "Do you want to do Xbox Game Pass?" I already have it on my computer on my Xbox. But imagine if that all of a sudden now you have a controller for your TV to play your Xbox. It's gonna be interesting.
It will be. And they say they're going to show this later this year, so it sounds like we won't be waiting too long to find out what it looks like.
It's the footsteps of the end of consoles, basically. The footsteps of doom to the consoles as we know it. I don't think they'll. Here's the thing, though: the purpose of a console, though, is to have the hardware, and not a lot of people have great internet connections. So it's going to be a long while before we lose consoles. It'll be like 20, 30 years. When everybody has super high speed internet and they're able to stream and have the best, people will still want to have PCs, and people will probably still want, but the concept of the console will change. I'm wondering if by then it'll be sort of like buying a TV, right? Microsoft's console box plays the same exact games as the Sony console box. Which one is doing it better? They did that with the CDI. Remember, the CDI had multiple publishers. I think Panasonic, Gold Star, and someone else all made their versions of CDI. It was an open source thing. And I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen, sort of like a PC. You know, you can build a PC here, you can build a PC there. It's strange. But of course, we're ignoring Nintendo. I think Nintendo has always viewed the Switch and their consoles as toys. So they may never change. Oh, that reminds me. Do you want to talk about the new version of the Atari handheld that's coming?
Oh no, I hadn't seen it.
So it's like the previous one, except this time it has a trackball and a paddle on it. And I'm sold because you know what? If you want to play Tempest, Breakout, Arkanoid, or Kaboom, you need a paddle. I'm sorry, a mouse doesn't cut it. Analog stick doesn't cut it. You need to be able to do that paddle, right? Going back and forth. Because if you play Tempest and you don't have the paddle, you're not really playing Tempest, are you? And the same thing is with Missile Command and Food Fight. You need the trackball. Trackball is fun.
Interesting. Well, that should be fun.
Here's the thing, though. I love the Atari 2600. I owned one at launch, and I played a lot of games on it. I have no interest in playing Atari 2600 games anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm not. Adventure, Superman, whatever. No. What I would like them to see is if you're going to include the Atari 2600 games, I would also like to see Atari 5200 games, Atari 7800 games, and direct arcade ports. Because I don't want to play the 2600 game version of Crystal Castles. I want to play the arcade version of Crystal Castles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. They also listed a lot of games that were not Atari games, like Mr. Do. Mr. Do and all these Universal games. And I love the Universal games, by the way, like Ladybug and all that stuff. So we'll see. I want to see what the games are, but if it has a paddle and a trackball, I am sold. It'll probably be $100. I think it is $100, just like the previous one. I just want to see stuff more than Atari 2600.
Agreed. I hope it comes out the way you want it to.
I hope so too. Like I said, nostalgia only takes me so far before I get bored.
Yeah.
Anyways, there was another news. Marvel Rivals already has a higher Steam concurrent player count than GTA 5, Apex Legends, Fallout 4, and Helldivers 2.
That game is Marvel's new license to print money. And like it's working on me too. I've been playing it a little bit, and like it's the best version of Overwatch that we've had in a long time. And like it's not a mistake that a whole bunch of Overwatch fans and a whole bunch of Overwatch pros are going over there and kind of demanding Overwatch things, which I hope they never get, because they are asking for things like bring back 222 comp, and I'm like, no. Let it be fun. Let it be like whatever we want it to be. You can have your little competitive 222 thing over on your own time. Let us have fun here. And I feel like NetEase and Marvel Games are kind of sticking to that for now, which I'm happy to see. They're also like there's so many leaks going on about this game, about what characters are coming. Like in the last week alone, they're launching the entire Fantastic Four, not just like a couple characters, but like Reed Richards, Sue Storm, The Thing, and Human Torch. They're all coming to the game.
I remember when Spider-Man was a member of the Fantastic. Well, Spider-Man's been a member of everybody. He's been a member of the Avengers. He's been a member of the Fantastic Four.
Yep. And then in this last week, I've also heard that Professor Xavier and Cyclops are going to be coming to the game as well. Which I always wanted Cyclops in there. I think he'd be a fun character in that game.
Another interesting news item that popped up is House of the Dead 2 remake is finally revealed. I saw the trailer. It looks really nice, but if you really want to get my attention, do remake Typing of the Dead.
That would be fun.
I had Typing of the Dead somewhere on my PC, in which I had this file. It was like from Abandonware, and it was fully made, and it's so fun to do Typing of the Dead. And not the new game. I mean the original one that basically just swapped out the gun with key presses.
Even on the guys, like the guys had these weird little they were like backpacks attached to a Dreamcast and a keyboard
in front of them, yeah.
It was really funny. Like they really stuck to the gimmick, and it was such a blast.
Yeah.
And it was educational.
Well, I mean, it was better than Mavis Bacon teaches typing.
I grew up on that, so I'm a little biased, but I do love Typing of the Dead. It's very fun.
Yeah. Hitman passed the $75 million milestone
for the entire franchise.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
World of Assassination, Hitman World of Assassination, which I guess includes the remakes 1, 2, and 3.
That's pretty great. They've been doing a lot of high-profile crossovers with that game. They just put Jean-Claude Van Damme in the game as an assassinable, as a target.
Yeah, I mean, basically they made the base game for free, starter pack. So that's one way to do it. But yeah, I haven't really played the Hitman games. I know you played the shit out of them.
They're a blast. They're one of the best. I still think they're one of the best sandbox games out there, as far as just like the sheer amount of puzzle solving and ways you can go about anything. I love those games. They're so they spur creativity, and there's really no wrong way to go about it besides like if you're going for like the silent assassin thing. Which even then, have you ever seen people do silent assassin runs of missions in that game? It's pretty insane the kind of stuff they come up with.
Yeah.
It's like building a Rube Goldberg murder contraption in a sprawling map, and it's just ridiculous to see how all the pieces fall together when you get it right.
Anyways, just one more thing is Civilization 7 has been Steam Deck verified ahead of its launch next month. And
you were soured on what you saw about this game last week.
Yeah, I'm still sour. I have no interest. Here's the weirdest thing. Who's picking the leaders? I mean, for America, they have Harriet Tubman and Benjamin Franklin, neither of whom led the United States.
Right.
Benjamin
so they were
Franklin
just like
actually opted out of it because he'd rather been an ambassador and fuck French women. But I mean, if you're Harriet Tubman, then why not do Martin Luther King? He's more of a leader than she was.
And also, like, I remember you saying that, like, you can just take any leader and mix them with any nation now.
Hey, you
So
want Gandhi to lead the Chinese? Go right ahead. Or Hatshepsut lead the United States. It's just,
on one side, I kind of like that you're going to be able to mix and match leader abilities with nation abilities. But I get what you're saying about, like, context and how weird that is.
and thing is that when you make leaders interchangeable and make countries interchangeable, I noticed something about all the leader abilities. They were basically almost all the same. There wasn't really in Civilization 6, you have like one of the Native American things have if you build a city, all of a sudden it spreads out immediately. Or if you're Canadian, you can build farms on snow. You know, you can have all this weird stuff. You can't have that in Civilization 7 because they all have to be able to, you have to have a leader be able to do every single nation. So now what happens is you're homogenizing all the leaders in all the nations. So you could just, they almost don't matter. And that's the problem right there. What's the difference if I'm Egypt or the America? They're not, they basically play the same.
It's going to be really, really weird when somebody picks Gandhi to lead the Third Reich. I don't know. Like on one hand, I think I'd have to see the leader's abilities and I have to see the nation's abilities to really decide what I think of it.
And they're almost all the same. They don't really have any variation in them.
But also, like there's got to be more. This game is still not out yet. It's still being developed.
Though. But here's the problem: is that what they're trying to do is make a well-balanced game, and Civilization should not be well-balanced. It should be, because you know what? It just stinks of multiplayer and stinks of live service. Civilization 6 flirted with live service with their Civilization packs. This sounds like it's full on live service, and it's gonna be like SimCity 2015.
I hope not, because I like Civ and I don't want it to be like SimCity 2015.
Well, here's the thing that all the other Civ killers really haven't really made a dent. I mean, Humankind, which Civilization 7 is apparently copying, really didn't make a dent. Our History Untold, it's okay, but it's like micromanaging hell, right? Even more so than Civ. So no one's really gotten a good Civ game, except for Civ. And now Civ is trying to emulate other Civilization type games. And it's just taking them away from what people like.
The only ones that I have felt like have done it well is Endless, the Endless games.
Yeah.
I like Endless Legend. Endless Legend is one of my favorite Civ likes.
This one amuses me. My Summer Car is finally getting released. It's been on early access for 10 years. And the reason why I'm so attuned with this game is that it's one of the most popular games on Game Watcher for downloading mods. It's like every time I put up some mod for My Summer Car, it would immediately get tons and tons of downloads. I don't even know if you know My Summer Car.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know that one.
Driving around in a shitty car. And you have to do maintenance on it. So, anyways, that's basically all. There's not much other news that we can talk about. So look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback, so comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us iTunes comments. You can find me at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
And hopefully all three of us will be doing this next week. We will see you then.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.